friends, and thanks for joining me. And sometimes people need some really extreme money-saving tricks or tips. And this could be for several reasons. Maybe someone has had a job layoff and they really need to cut back on their expenses in a really big way. Maybe people have some sort of a savings goal, and while they've cut back on some different things, it's just not getting them to that savings goal that they have. Or whatever. There are lots of different reasons. Some people even do this stuff for fun sometimes. I don't know. So anyway, if there are some really extreme money-saving tips that you would like, let's go ahead and get started on some different ways that you can really dig in and cut those expenses in really big ways. So the first one is going to be re-wearing clothes. Re-wearing your clothes actually has a double benefit. So the first one is you're going to be doing laundry less, which is going to save money there, but also it's going to make your clothes last longer because it's actually harder on clothes to wash them than it is to wear them. So lasting longer is good because then you don't have to replace stuff as often. So re-wearing clothes definitely is one of those things that can be done. The next one is going to be doing laundry by hand. This can be done, again, a lot of different ways. I've done it in buckets, I've done it in like totes or bathtubs, different things like that, different types of off-grid laundry scenarios. Yeah, wash them by hand and hang them out to dry. The next one is something I never ever thought that I would do, and then last September I finally got to the point where I had to do it, and that's cut your own hair. Again, never wanted to do it, but I did, and it actually worked out okay. I thought I botched the haircut really badly, but I don't know, maybe watch the video if you haven't seen it and see what you think. Next one is going to be to use everything up, like to the last bit. You would be surprised how much toothpaste there is still in a tube if you cut open the bottom end and look inside. Or like I just almost ran out of conditioner last night, but I just put a little water in it, shook up the bottle, and bam, totally plenty. And I'll probably even be able to do that another time or two before that bottle is really empty. Or lipstick, once you use it to the bottom where the plastic thing goes, that actually goes back inside of the jar by quite a bit. So I just take my little tweezers and I pick out a little bit and spread it around with my fingers, and bam. I've literally been doing that with a lipstick tube that I have for like a couple months now, and it's still no end in sight. Using up every last bit of something really does make things last longer and therefore need to have to buy them less. Reusable hygiene products is the next one, and this can come in a lot of different forms. It can be like reusable toilet paper, it can be, cloth pads or feminine cups or cloth diapers or nappies, depending on where you live and what you call them. But these sorts of things save a ton of money over time. They're usually a little bit more expensive to buy up front, but then because you're not buying things, every, week or month or however often you're buying them, it saves a ton of money. So another one can be reusing disposable items. This can be like your bags or your foil and things like that in the kitchen. Some people even reuse their paper towels. I've never done that yet, but I'm just throwing that out there that that's something that people do. But yeah, things that are intended to be used once, if you can actually use them more than once, of course that's going to save money, and then you're again buying things less often that way. Gray water. Gray water basically means using water more than once. And I've done this in several different ways, filling up the bathtub and then pumping it out and using it on like the lawn or the garden, things like that. You can either use it the once and then use it, again in the garden, or you can actually just reuse the water that you're not using and that we're currently wasting. So this can be like taking a small bucket and sticking it in your kitchen sink, and then when you're running it, waiting for the hot water, you're filling up the bucket that you can then go and water your houseplants or your lawn or your garden. Again, with the shower, you can put like a big 5-gallon bucket in there, turn on the shower, and while you're waiting for it to get the hot water, it can be filling up that bucket. You move it aside, you shower, as soon as the warm water comes in, and then you take that bucket outside and use it for whatever other purpose you want to. So gray water can save some money and cut down on some water usage. Eat leftovers, and not even just your own. Some people do this. This is not something that we do in our household currently. If we have leftovers, if one of my kids has a leftover or something like that, we'll put that in there for them to eat again, which usually doesn't happen because my kids eat almost everything I give them without complaining about it. But anyway, and it's kind of an eat all you can take, or take all you can eat sort of family situation we have going on. But anyway, some people will actually eat someone else's leftovers, like your husband or your wife's, or my brother actually does this with his kids. His kids will eat, one bite of a Brussels sprout, decide they don't want it, and he'll eat the rest of it, that sort of thing. So yeah, eating every last bit of thing can definitely help make sure that absolutely nothing goes to waste. Experience the elements. This is something that I definitely do because it's summer. It's expected that it's going to be hot. We just keep the AC off or set really high because we don't need to have it set to where, we have it set to 74 in the summer and 74 in the winter, and we just like keep the house, at the same constant temperature. Not only does that make it to where our bills are really high, but that can actually make it harder for our body to know how to regulate itself when we're outside. It actually makes us more hardy, so to speak, by having stuff set to where you're not doing such, extreme heating and cooling on your house, and you're just letting your body help to do itself. The next one is one that I couldn't do unless we were totally in some dire straits, and that's to not have pets. But that is something that a lot of really frugal people do. They just avoid having pets in the first place. So no cats, no dogs, nothing. And this can save a ton of money by not having any pets, because pets are not only food, they're vet bills and, the shots, and it's a lot of money. Pets really are a lot of money. And so, yeah, by avoiding having them in the first place definitely saves a ton of money. A one-car family can definitely save a ton of money because you don't have, car payments for some people, or, insurance that you have to pay. There's the gas, there's the maintenance. Cars really do add up to a lot of money. So having just one car, and say there was, a stay-at-home mom and then the dad who works, he takes the car to work and then he comes home, and maybe, you plan to do your grocery shopping or taking the kids to the library or whatever other kinds of stuff that you do, try to plan that for when he's there or on the weekends or things like that. Or just find alternate, ways to get around, the bus, there's walking, of course, you can ride your bike, things like that. Or for people who can even get away with no car, that's even better. So yeah, eliminating either the number of cars or any car at all saves a ton. Dumpsters, this has gotten some really good finds. I just did a video on this, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but yes, a lot of people can save a ton of money by pulling out, different types of furniture, clothes, or all these different things. You do have to be very careful though about what you're pulling out. Make sure that the dumpster is clean. You don't want to pick something out of a dumpster that's dirty. Sometimes stuff is in the dumpsters for a reason. Something may look clean, but when you really look at it, like you look in the seams and stuff like that, you may find that it was there because somebody's doing like a bed bug clean out or something like that. Dumpsters can save a ton of money, but just be really careful on this one. Having a dumb phone, or at least that's what I call them. It's basically a non-smartphone, and those are a lot cheaper. No TV service. I did a video again a long time ago about cutting the cord, but I have something new to share with you. My husband recently downloaded this app, I think through Amazon, because we have an Amazon Fire Stick, and he downloaded this thing through Amazon. It was free, and it was called Pluto TV, and it uses the little remote that came with the Fire Stick, and it has the same feel as a cable service. Like, it has tons and tons of channels, and they're all even categorized. So there'll be like cooking, and then there'll be all these channels, travel, all these channels, kids, and then all these like different Cartoon Networks and different things like that. It's really pretty cool, actually. So if people were used to that same feel of, having like hundreds of channels to scroll through, or Pluto TV might be the solution, because it really does feel like we have cable now. And it's live TV. We can't pause it or anything like that because it is live, but it was totally free. So yeah, the Pluto TV may be able to be a solution for someone who is reluctant to cut the cord on cable. But honestly, having no TV at all can even save more money and even save a bunch of time. So that's obviously an option as well. The next one would be to have no internet service. And when they do need internet, what they do is they go to the local library. The next one would be to rent out a portion of your house. This is pretty extreme, and I realize that this would probably be hard unless somebody really had some major goals that they needed to reach, or if they had some kind of a job layoff and they were just trying to find something to do to where they weren't going to lose the house. But this sort of thing can be done in a lot of different ways. Sometimes people have a basement with a separate entrance that they can just rent out the basement portion of their house. Or maybe they have like a master bedroom that's on one wing of the house, that they could just put a locking doorknob on that to where it locks the opposite direction from inside the main portion of the house rather than in the bedroom. And somebody can actually just come in through, the sliding door or whatever that leads to the outside, so that you can keep this sort of thing separate. So the most ideal way to rent out a portion of your house would be to keep it to where it's separated. You still have your main areas and the renter has their areas. But sometimes, that doesn't always work out, and people still want to rent out a portion of their house. And honestly, with the prices that you can get for renting out rooms, you can easily surpass how much your mortgage is. Around here, bedrooms rent from anywhere to $300 to $800 a month, depending on if they have a private bathroom or different amenities, how big the room is. Again, you gotta be careful. You gotta be, really careful about who you choose and this sort of thing. And that's not for this video, but yeah, this is definitely an option. And then the last one is going to be to sell everything that we don't need or use. And, not only does this save a whole lot of space, it's a lot easier to organize things that we don't own, and yeah, it can also make a whole bunch of money. So now I would love to hear tips from you. What kind of extreme money saving tips would you need? If someone was like really in need to really dig deep, what kinds of things would you suggest that they could do? And also, if you're new here, I would like for you to consider subscribing and joining our little frugal community, because it's a pretty fun place and there's a lot of really upbeat people and we like to help each other a lot. So thanks for watching my video. I'm Frugal Green Girl and we'll see you next time.